All right, welcome everyone to today's episode of Is It Prophecy here on Israel National Radio, Root Sheva, and the show is syndicated as Messiah Hour on YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in Messiah Hour with Ari Louis and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is free to do so. On that channel, you'll see previous episodes, such as those with Rabbi David Katz, Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi, Dr. Gerald Schroeder, and much, much more. And also I'm on JApp, that's a Jewish application that has episodes of this program, as well as shiurim from different rabbis. You can download JApp from iTunes or from Google Play stores, or from the website www.j-app.me, and you can, of course, email me, messiahhour@gmail.com. We have a fascinating topic to discuss this afternoon, and on the line right now is the director of the Copper Scroll Project, Mr. Jim Barfield. Mr. Barfield, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to be speaking to my brothers in Israel.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of fascinating history regarding the Bible and objects of the Bible that are located in certain places across the world. Tell us what your project, the Copper Scroll Project, does to help find those treasures and those items.
What we've accomplished is I was able to decipher the meaning of the Copper Scroll, and the Copper Scroll, for everybody that's out there, is one of the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's found in 1952. It was actually made out of metal. The entire document, about 6-7 feet long, about a foot wide, and you can convert that into the metric system if you like. And it's what it is. It's a map. It's a map that could lead to the greatest archaeological find in history.
And certainly that's very exciting that you're talking about very historic things. I know in particular there is some talk about the Mishkan or something very specific that you're getting close to finding. Is that correct?
It's very possible. There are certain documents that actually back up the Copper Scroll. One is Imech HaMelech, written in the 16th century, that is written by Rabbi Naftali Hertz, and he records that there were numerous items. He gives a really huge account of vessels from the temple that were recorded, hidden away, and recorded on a copper plate. So here's a document of the 1600s recording the very thing that we're talking about today, the Copper Scroll. If that document's correct, it also records that there were holy items, far more important than, gold ingots, silver ingots, and gems, which there's a lot of that recorded on the Copper Scroll. But the Copper Scroll also records one item in particular that's hidden in a buried cave, meaning the entrance to the cave is buried. It's called the ephod, which for those that speak English, it's the breastplate of righteousness. So, yeah, there are some amazing, or potentially some amazing finds that are just on the horizon, and that's one of the reasons I was so excited about being able to speak to you today and be able to speak to the people in Israel, to make them aware that there's a possibility out there that these things may be found in the near future.
Now, one of the things I would like you to tell our audience is why this is so difficult to get done, and why it's so significant that you're close to getting this done, because we know for thousands of years you've had different biblical archaeologists try to search, try to find. Tell us a bit about the history of trying to find these items from the Bible.
Well, from the Bible's perspective, let's go with the main one. Let's just cut to the chase here. The biggest item that everybody's excited about and wants to identify is, of course, the Ark of the Covenant.
Right.
That is the biggie of biggies, if you want to put it that way, in all the world. Does the Copper Scroll say that item is there? No, it does not. However, the book not Imech HaMelech, it says it too. There's a possibility that it's there, but also Second Maccabees, which is a great historical document in my opinion. It literally says that Jeremiah took that item along with the Mishkan and took it into a cave and buried the entrance. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I absolutely believe that I've found the entrance that is buried for that particular cave, and the cave must be very large because it says that there's massive amounts, large amounts of gold, silver, and gems, and the items that we just mentioned, the Mishkan, and possibly even the Ark of the Covenant.
Again, you're listening to Is It Prophecy here on Israel National Radio, Root Sheva, and the show is syndicated as Messiah Hour on YouTube. Go to YouTube, type in Messiah Hour with Ari Louis. Again, continue the conversation with Jim Barfield. Now, we know this will sound kind of joking, but I'm being serious that in the movie Indiana Jones, the Nazis were trying to find this Ark of the Covenant. They believed they would get some power from it. Tell us the significance of actually finding it. If we find it, do you think it would give whatever country found it some type of power, or is it more this is a proof the Bible is accurate, or this is just some historical item that now we have in our possession?
The greatest thing it will do, it will give proof. Now, I am very pro rebuilding of the temple. I am very pro restoration of the Torah, a government based on the Torah. I am totally supportive of that. So for me, the finding of that item, I can speak personally, would mean this, punch your stopwatch. The time has begun. We are going to soon have a government, a righteous government that will rule without all the corruption, because I know that in Israel there is government corruption. I know
just a little bit, yeah, just a little.
Yeah, and in the United States, it's as bad or worse.
Right.
And to be honest with you, I am very concerned about the government we now have in office. So with that being said, I'll get back to your question. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. Go ahead.
To find if Israel, it belongs to Israel. Let's face it, those items belong to Israel. But let me tell you something. They are afraid of finding. The government is afraid of finding these items. I mean, I laid my research out to the head of the ADCA, which is the Archaeological Department of the Civil Administration. For those that don't know what that is Judea Samaria. It is most commonly known as, and incorrectly, the West Bank.
Right.
That is Judea Samaria. That is Israel. And what they don't understand is that government is almost separate from the Israeli government. The ADCA, it's a military-run organization. Where the head of it is military, so they have control over it. Now, how the government structure in Israel is set up, I believe I have a good idea of how it works. But whenever they found out that there was an archaeologist, a very well-known archaeologist who is Israeli. He is from an Israeli university, and he wanted very much to go with me and provide me with the scholarly background that he has, and make the arrangements for a scan or a test of the location we're looking at. He wanted to scan it with me to see if those items are there. Well, whenever he submitted the paperwork, everything shut down on him. And he was afraid to go any further with this. And I asked him, why did they shut it down? All we're going to do is be leaving footprints. He said, Jim, they are afraid of what you're going to find. Now, why would they be afraid?
Right.
So anyway, that is the biggest thing is not so much governments. It's what they fear. And I think the greatest thing that they fear is the loss of the status quo. They're afraid that if we find these things, people are going to become alive. And I had a rabbi tell me this. The first person I showed my research to in Israel was a rabbi. And he told me, Jim, do you realize what this means? Our nation could come into revival. And I said, yes, I do. I do realize that. And he knows that once these items are found, the people of Israel would the synagogues would fill up the next weekend. I promise you So they would lose, the government would begin to lose grip because they would realize that if a temple is built, that means that there is a new government or form of government that's going to be put in place. And they lose their position, they lose their income, and maybe even their retirement. So are they scared of that? You bet they are.
Again, this is a Prophecy on Israel National Radio. I want to know if, I hate to ask such a personal question, but I want to know if any government has tried to stop you from your research or bothered you personally, any type of problems because you in some ways are a threat to them, if you will. Not that I think it's a bad thing, but from their perspective, they might view it as a bad thing. So can you tell us about that perspective?
No, I have not. They've been actually initially the ADCA actually conducted an excavation in 2009. During that excavation, the archaeologist working with me was a actual staff member. They saw my research and they said, "Oh my gosh, this guy could be right." I mean, he literally said that. And the head he's no longer alive, the head of the Antiquities Authority, who had seen my research already, and he had arranged a meeting for all of us for the ADCA and myself to get together and so they could look at my research. They were going back and forth saying, "Oh my gosh, this guy could be right. I think he is right." Then whenever we started the excavation in 2009, April of 2009, they stopped me. They stopped him. He got a phone call and he got this weird look on his face. He walked away from me, so I couldn't hear the conversation. Then he came back and he said, "Jim, we're going to have to, this is as deep as we can go here." And it was the most important location that we were digging at. Of all the items, there was 57 locations on the Copper Scroll that lists treasures from the tabernacle and the temple. And he was telling me, this is deep as we can go. And I said, "Hey, Yuval, you said 2 meters. This is not 2 meters." I said, "This is barely even, 3/4 of a meter." He said, No, this will have to do. So yeah, we moved from there. We went down to the ruins, and started to do more of an excavation, but we only went 11 inches. But you can't even get to the ancient foundation at 11 inches. You just can't do it. And I told him, I said, "Look, we've got to go at least 2 meters here to be able to find anything." He said, "Nope, I'm sorry, that's as deep as we're going to go." Did he want to check it? Did he want to test it and find out if my work was correct? You bet he did. But that phone call. So here's, was it from his wife telling him, "No, you need to get home early for supper," or was it from one of the heads of the IAA, the Antiquities Authority, or the ADCA? I don't know, but it sure began to stop at that point.
That's certainly intriguing, to say the least. Now, I'm also curious of the information that you found. Why was it that you showed it to a rabbi and he said this could revive the nation, it would cause people to come to synagogue? What specific information can you tell my audience that would really excite people that we're very close to these tremendous discoveries, if we can find them?
Let me tell you this. He's not the only rabbi that realizes the potential here. There are many other scholars. There are many other archaeologists. There are many other government officials in Israel that are aware of what I've found. And I understand that there needs to be caution. I totally respect that. However, the organizations around the world, like, for example, the World Heritage Organization. How many of your locations in Israel are already under the World Heritage Organization, under their authority? If you've never heard of it, I encourage you to look it up. I can tell you that there are many of the United States, for example, the Declaration of Independence, there's several other major things that fall under the World Heritage Organization. Now, what the heck have they got to do with that? That's our stuff. It doesn't belong to them. It belongs to us, the United States. And you're the Israelis, that all of Israel belongs to Israel. And that's just the way it is, and that's where the problems are coming in, that rabbi is not the only one that recognizes the importance of it. However, let me tell you some of the other obstacles that I'm up against. I'm from a Christian background. I was raised pretty secular. I started going to a Pentecostal church of all things. As I began to study and read and learn, because I didn't want some preacher telling me what to believe. I began to read and study. I began to realize there were some major issues here. Because here's the book telling me one thing and this preacher telling me something else. So I began to say, okay, wait a minute. Either I'm going to follow this book and the teachings in this book, or, I'm wasting my time. So I became what the Christians think I'm Jewish. Right. The Jews don't know what to do with me, and they're afraid of me because of all the deceit that they've experienced at the hands of the Christians, and I've experienced it myself. And believe me, I'm not anti-Christian. I love them. I don't agree with them on a huge amount of what they teach, but I love them and I care about them. These are the obstacles that I'm up against, that this rabbi that I was telling you was so excited about, but these are the major issues that I'm dealing with. Go ahead.
Well, basically, so you kind of have this middle ground, and you talked about some obstacles. Is the middle ground also an obstacle, meaning that do you find it difficult to get Christian or Jewish support because you feel you're somewhat in the middle?
Christian support, no problem.
Okay.
They believe in the Torah as well. They maybe not all of it, but they believe in it. Jewish support, they're very cautious of me because of my Christian background, where I came from. And I understand that. I mean, for goodness sakes, there's the Crusades, the Nazi, I could go through a laundry list of things and reasons why they would be cautious, and I understand that. However, I'm trying desperately to prove to them that I am totally against idolatry. I'm totally for the rebuilding of the temple. And there's a guy that is in Israel that I support wholeheartedly, and that's a guy named Moshe Feiglin that wants a government ruled and controlled by the Torah, a godly government. I totally support that guy.
Do you think if he became prime minister, he would be able to help you more, or it'd be easier for you to find more discoveries?
Absolutely. And every day I've got to prove myself not only to my Jewish brothers, but I've also got to prove myself to the government people that that my goal, I don't give a darn about the money. I don't give a darn about the notoriety. What I believe in and what I want is what that rabbi was so excited about. My grandchildren would grow up in a world ruled by a righteous leader. That's what I want. The rest of it, they can have it. I don't care. So now, your rabbi over there, who I deeply respect, he sees the potential here. But there's so much distrust. There was a point where the man got up and started spitting at me. And I'm thinking, Bubba, what's your problem here? I'm just a guy from Oklahoma. I got a lot of issues. However, I've got something you need, and I'm willing to give it to you. And it was just all a misunderstanding. But the problem is the explosive nature of all of this. It's so volatile that everything that I do, everything that I say, I have to be careful. I have to be cautious about it because I don't want to lose that ground with my Jewish brothers. That's your property. That's your backyard. I'm wanting to dig in it to give you something that I believe is there. And I've got some other things to say about what might be there as we continue on.
All right, so this is the end of part one of my interview with Mr. Jim Barfield. Again, he is the director of the Copper Scroll Project. Before we take a break, I want to remind everyone that I'm on JApp. As I mentioned at the top of the program, that's a Jewish application that has episodes of this program as well as Shireen. So you can download JApp from iTunes or from Google Play stores, or from the website www.j-app.me. Again, this program, Is It Prophecy, is syndicated as the Messiah Hour on YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in Messiah Hour with Ari Louis, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is free to do so. You can check out some of our previous episodes, as I mentioned, Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi, Rabbi David Katz, Dr. Gerald Schroeder, much more. And also you can email me, messiahhour@gmail.com. Any topics you would like me to discuss in the future, write to me there, and we'll be happy to set it up. We've done that in the past. We're happy to do that in the future. And some upcoming program announcements. We will, speaking of Moshe Feiglin, we will hopefully have some representatives of his political camp on this program. We're still working out all those details. We'll take a quick break and have more on the other side. This is It Prophecy on IsraelNationalRadio.com.